If you love Confluence, whiteboards, and you're a fan of dark mode, then this video is just for you. Atlassian has been making changes to Confluence whiteboards for over a year now, and today we're going to be taking a look at some of the newer features that you might not be aware of. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel, drop a like if you get value out of this video, and don't forget to check out those links in the description down below, as I have a link to my merch store, my paid courses, and the other many ways that you can help support this channel. Let's jump into Confluence and let's take a look. Alright, so inside of Confluence, I've already created a whiteboard, and I wanted to focus on some of the new changes that you might not be aware of. Atlassian introduced Confluence whiteboards way back at Teams 23, and this was by far the feature that I was most excited about. I absolutely loved Confluence whiteboards. I thought this was one of the greatest things that Atlassian has introduced in a very, very long time, and they just continued to make it better. If you remember my video from like a year ago, I talked about how awesome and how cool it was and how much I enjoyed using whiteboards, but it was definitely a video where I mentioned there was some need for improvement. And here we are 1 year later, and I think Atlassian is starting to get up to par. It's really cool, and I just want to show you some cool new things. We're going to kick things off with dark mode. So one of the cool things that Confluence Whiteboards now supports is that if you are in dark mode in Confluence, now your entire whiteboard will also support dark mode. So how does this work? Well, in case you weren't aware, let's maybe do a 2-for-1 special here. Confluence itself supports dark mode, which is really, really cool. I love dark mode. It's just so much easier on your eyes, and I'm a huge fan. So wherever I can do dark mode, I do hashtag dark mode everywhere. Let me show you how to enable dark mode and how it looks inside of Confluence whiteboards. So all you got to do is click on your little profile icon here in the top right corner, and we're going to come down to theme. This is a dedicated button that is just available in Confluence, because in Jira it happens a little bit differently. And so we can click on theme, and we can do light, which is what I'm in right now, or we can do dark mode, which is my favorite, or we can match the browser. Some browsers or some operating systems now switch, right? So depending on your personal preference, so it'll switch for you. But I'm gonna hard code this to be dark mode. And as you can see, the whole thing goes dark. Everything is in dark mode, and I love it. When we drop these sticky notes, the colors of them are more dark mode friendly. The shade of the color is just a little bit easier to see on the eyes. Shapes look great. Same thing with these colors here. So awesome shapes that look really, really good in this dark mode. And let's check out the connector real quick. So these connectors right here, definitely easy to see. Not that hard. I really, really like it. So if you haven't already, highly consider you check out dark mode. Now I'm going to turn it off for the rest of this video, because I also get complaints that dark mode is not that easy to see on videos. And because this video is for the masses, we're just going to make it easy, and we're going to keep it in light mode. But do take advantage of that dark mode. One other cool new feature that Atlassian introduced recently is that of sections. I struggled to basically divide your whiteboards. Now, in case you weren't aware, if you're on free, or I believe even on standard versions of Confluence, your availability of whiteboards kind of gets limited. You don't have an unlimited amount of whiteboards. I think you get like 3 max, and Atlassian restricts us to how many whiteboards you're allowed to have. And so you have to start getting creative with how do you utilize your whiteboards to the most efficiency possible, because you just can't randomly create whiteboards, right? You have to be strategic in your utilization of the whiteboards. Thus enters this cool new feature of sections. So over on the whiteboard section, you can zoom in and out, right? Like, this is one of the cool things about whiteboards, that it's like an infinite canvas, but it can get hard to find things. And so in the past, I would grab a shape like a square, and I would draw a giant square. As you can see here, it goes really small. You just zoom in and make it bigger, and then like make it as big as you wanted it. And then from within here, then I can go and drop new shapes of different colors, because then they're hard to see, right? And so now I can start doing my thing inside of this square that I would do. But that's kind of annoying. As you can see, it took me too many clicks, and it's not very intuitive. And so Atlassian now has this little sections folder that I can just click on here. And when I do that, I can just drop a section. And so now I can zoom in, and I can also give it a name. And so I can go like, this is demo YouTube video, right? And now I can start brainstorming, doing whatever I gotta do. I can go zoom in more to get me that full canvas. And it's really, really cool. So I think it's a cool feature. You can make it bigger, smaller. It's definitely a much welcomed functionality here of Confluence Whiteboards to just be able to add sections, because now I can strategically divide my whiteboard. So I'm no longer just, sharing everything and it's all just one big mess. I can change the colors of them. And so definitely a very much welcome change here. Now, while we're on the topic of colors, you'll notice that we have a lot more colors now. I think before we used to have a lot less selection, and now we have a lot more to see. And so this is another cool welcome feature where we get a few more colors that make this whole experience just a little bit more easier to organize and to visualize. And so very, very much welcome to the colors. Now, a couple more things that I want to talk about is we also have this button down here, this more button. And when we go to here, we can now add files, we can add stickers, we can add a timer, we can go back to our templates, but we can also now import a whiteboard from other products. So this is interesting because now we can bring in whiteboards from other products, wink, wink, competitors, right? And you can bring that all in here and just centralize all your information. So this is another really cool welcome feature. Now, a couple more things in the UI that they're just subtle tweaks, just makes it a little bit easier. As you can see, I have this grid formation behind me. I can simply right click and I can hide the grid. And that just makes it so that I just have a pure whiteboard, no grid whatsoever. I kind of like the grid, but if you don't like it, you can get rid of that. You can also hide the UI. And so this little helper at the bottom, if you don't want it, I'm not sure why you would want to hide it. I think I always like seeing it, but maybe you're doing a presentation and you don't want this to be visible. This is now definitely something you can do there. And just to close out this video, on the right hand side, I wanted to show you about this menu button that you have available here. You can give feedback, you have help and documentation, and you have the ability for more support, which is join the community, and you can check some compatibility checkers. And of course, my favorite, you got some keyboard shortcuts, because there is no more annoying thing than having to look down at your keyboard and get lost in the train of thought because you're trying to figure out how to zoom in or pan or move something or add a circle or whatever, right? Like this right here is just going to be a little bit easier for you to kind of memorize and be able to navigate Confluence Whiteboards that much easier. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, some subtle updates to Confluence Whiteboards. One of my favorite tools, one of my favorite features of the Atlassian ecosystem. And I just love that they're making it a little bit better. Now, it's still nowhere near close to like something like Miro, so we're still a very long ways to go. But I'm excited to see that Atlassian's making these little subtle changes that make the product a little bit better. But I would like it if you can do way more, way more, because it is such a valuable, powerful tool. And if you're not using Confluence Whiteboards, I highly recommend you check out a Confluence Whiteboard. So that's it for this video. Make sure you check out the link down in the description down below. I got my links to my paid courses, my merch store. I got links to just many different ways that you can help support this channel: free trainings, paid trainings, merch. I have a podcast called The Jira Life. So go check them all out. Check out that link, and I'll see you in the next one.